Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Time for another Metal Earth Kit build. Once again I'm going off planet, or at least to the moon. I've already done the Hubble telescope. Today I'm going to build the Apollo Lunar Rover. Say that too many times fast and you might actually slip in module. Haven't done that one yet, but this looks interesting. I don't really know much about it. Here's a good place to start learning. Let's open it up and see what's inside. The Apollo Lunar Rover. We have directions. Here we have 2 metal sheets. Almost felt like 3 for a second there. We have 2 sheets of instructions. If we open up the first one, we have our first page with Metal Earth boldly across the top and an outline of the kit, built kit, in one of the sheets. Then we have our little section on insertion holes, folds, tabs, a little bit about needle nose pliers, and the key or legend, if you will. When you see a blue circle in the directions, it means to fold the tab over. When you see a green triangle, it means to twist the tab. Twisted tabs tend to be a little more secure. And then we have the layouts of our 2 sheets. Let me just lay these down really quick. We have the numbers that indicate the different number of, or the number of the different parts, so that we can find the associated parts on the sheet. We have some parts that are colored the same shade of color. That's to indicate that they're the same parts. This one is labeled number 2. There's 4 of them. All 4 of these are number 2. Only one of them is labeled. Saves a bit of time and headache when trying to find duplicate parts and keeping them straight. If we slide over to page 2, we have the start of the assembly flowchart, starting with part 1, 2, 3, and going on. Follow the arrows all the way down. It will, for the most part, go in order of parts, with a few exceptions where you're kind of jumping back, like here 3-2, jumping back to a duplicate part to finish something up. Flip over, we have page 3. Just continue to follow the arrows. Slide over to page 4, and you've got some little sub-assembly sometimes, or boxes that show the part before it's folded. Once you get to the end of page 4, you move to the next sheet. Once you get that unfolded, you've got page 5, and just continue, follow the little arrows, slide over to page 6. Once you're to the bottom of 6, flip it over, you've got 7, and then 8, and then you're done. The tools that I'll use to build these kits, these are the basics, although it doesn't seem that basic. We have a fairly general set of tweezers. We have some other more specialty set of tweezers, a thinner set. I have one that has a very pointed end. This one also had a pointed end, but I've ground it down just a little bit, and it's great for grabbing just the tabs in tight areas. I have a couple of pliers here. One is a longer needle nose, one is a flat nose. These are smooth inside. There's no ridges, so it doesn't damage any of the parts when you hold on to it. And a pair of clippers or flush cutters that are real good for clipping the parts out of the tree, which is much easier and better than trying to twist and break them out. When it comes to shaping parts, I have an assortment of different things to use. I have dowel rods that I've used for quite some time. A couple of them have had the ends sharpened with a pencil sharpener, which are great for making cone shapes. I have a inexpensive drill bit set with a lot of different sized bits to help with forming cylinder shapes. I also have a couple of step mandrels. I'm not saying you need all of this, but these are different tools that I've acquired, and I kind of go back and forth depending on the situation. Round nose pliers, or ring pliers as I've heard them called, can come in quite handy. These have rounded tips, and you can use these to shape some of the more unusual or smaller areas that are hard to get with the big fingers like I have. So this is great for curving and doing odd shapes. We've got our metal sheets, the instructions, and some tools. Let's put this together. Parts 1 and 3 seem to be the same. I think the intention here was to make it so that the tread was facing the correct way when attached to the rover, but it was poorly executed in the directions. If that is the case, then they should have numbered or lettered each assembly and marked which side to put them on. I ran into a lot of long, thin sides that needed to be bent over. The flat nose pliers were not wide enough and the needle nose pliers couldn't really get into where they needed to be. I ended up pulling out a pair of curved needle nose pliers that I had but never really used. They worked better than I expect to bend over the long, thin sides. I almost missed that there was an extra part in the middle of the frame. I did goof up a bit and put 2 tires on the wrong way, but it was an easy fix. There are a lot of little sides to bend up on part 10. To save time, I will not show every single bend. The wheel covers were the hardest part. Usually the edge of the individual folded sides indicates about how it should fold. Typically you bend until the edges meet, but such was not quite true with this kit. Fold them as best you can and use the next part, 11, 12, and 13, to pull them into shape. A lot of the tabs in this kit are in hard to reach areas. I had to use the pointed tweezers to pry some tabs out to even be able to bend them and twist them. The curve in the back of the chair was too subtle to use a drill bit effectively. I bent a little at a time with the pliers to create a small curve. Another part with lots of sides to fold down. The tabs here and in several other places on this kit are too close together to fold over smoothly. I would fold one tab inward and pinch it down as secure as I could, then fold the other tab inward and over the first, once again pinching the tab down. Sometimes twisted tabs get in the way of a part sitting flush, and you have to bend them out of the way. When in a situation where a flap folds over onto a tab, I find it helpful to bend the tab inward slightly. Even more long, thin sides to fold over. So many of the tabs on this kit are in such tight spots. I am so glad I have the precision tweezers and so glad that I ground the tip of one down to fit the tabs almost perfectly. It took several minutes and several tries to get all of the tabs to line up with the slots, especially for the tabs behind the wheels. I just had to take them one at a time. I apologize for going off screen. It can be easy to get carried away when focusing on tabs and slots. I was not real sure about how 49 sat in place. I had to check it out on the 360 view online. The plates with the tabs do not bend a complete 90 degrees, but are more of an open angle to allow the plate to sit up at an angle, over the post, and still reach the slots. Ladies and gentlemen, the Apollo Lunar Rover. This took quite a bit more time than I expected it to. I did not think it was anywhere near as complex to put together as it was. There was so much bending of little parts and pieces. You've got all these poles and sticks. It just took time to just fold all the little sides down. The base of it, part of the framework, it just took a lot of time to fold all these pieces and all the little attaching parts. I know I sound repetitive, but it just took a lot longer than I thought it would take. But it looks really neat. I took my time. Not to say that I never take my time, but especially tried to with this one to make sure I got everything put together correctly. I also cheated a little bit, or tried to. I added some glue to try and keep these pieces up, although that one didn't quite stay. It was a fun kit. It was rewarding. It was long and tedious, but in the end I enjoy it. I'll be glad to add it to my collection. So if it's something you're thinking about, pick it up, put it together. Just be patient and take your time like with any kit. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.